Good day, everybody in the podcast world. I'm so glad that you're choosing to watch this. I do want to say that each and every week we sit down with some great people. We have 3 great ones today that we're talking to. But let us know by subscribing that you like this. Also, leave a comment, love it, and also share it with someone else. It would be very helpful if you do these items, and leave us a review too. That'd be great. And a 5-star one would be the best. Okay. So, hey, today we have some great guys. Last week we started talking about fatherhood, and we just began to talk manhood, talk about manhood and fatherhood and just being what it means to be a man. And last week we had a great conversation with Gary Nelson. I hope that you go back and listen to that. This week got 3 guys. We got Pastor Clint, we got Walter, we got Pastor Demetrius. And so it's good to have all 3 of you men.
It's great to be on today, Pastor.
Well, it's going to be a great day. And I'm first off, let's just take just a moment to get to know each one of you. And Clint, I'll just let you lead the way. And then right after he's done, Demetrius, would you follow? And then Walter, would you wrap us up on just a moment to get to know a little bit about who you are and your family?
Yeah, I'm Clint Smith. I'm one of the pastors at North Church. I've been on staff there for 20 plus years now. I have 4 kids. Wife's name's Lindsay. And we, at one point, had opened our home foster care, have adopted, been a part of this journey for many years now. So great to be on with you guys.
My name is Demetrius Mayhew. I've been attending North for about 5 years now. I'm also the youth and young adult pastor at Holy Temple Baptist Church. I have 3 children, one being a foster kiddo. We have been fostering for about 7 years now, and we're probably up at about 83 kids is our count in foster.
83. You said 83.
83.
It's great.
Wow. That is incredible. Okay, go ahead, Walter.
Yeah, Demetrius, that's amazing. I'm Walter Bowser. We've been going to North Church for 4.5 years now, and we opened up our home 4 years ago to foster care. We actually had the opportunity to adopt both of our first 2 placements, and so now we've closed our home to foster care. But we also, my wife and I, Aubrey, we lead the Fostering Hope group here at North Church, and so we have a North group for foster families.
Okay, so I mentioned that we're talking about over the next several weeks, manhood, fatherhood, everything about being a man. Today, we're throwing a little bit of something that very few men actually choose to do, but I hope that more people will, is what these guys have in common: fostering children. So first off, why don't Clint, you actually serve on a role with the Project 111. Tell us about Project 111 and give us a little bit of insight into that nonprofit.
Yeah, so how I became a foster parent was Pastor Rodney and I were actually sitting in a meeting with one of our friends that came to share the vision about foster care and the initiative. And he was leading at the time an organization called 111 Project. And as he was talking about the church, North Church, being involved in 111, I felt the Lord start prompting my heart and challenging me personally. What are you going to do about this? What are we going to do about it as a church? But at that time, more importantly, what was Clint Smith going to do about it? And I did the mistake, guys. I texted my wife, hey, what would you think about not having another child and us opening our home? And she immediately calls me, kind of freaked out about it. And weeks later, we begin the process, and the Lord has just been so good to us in that process. We opened our home and then adopted and closed the home at that point. But I've been involved in 111 Project and in various foster care initiatives since then. And now I'm actually on the board with 111 Project and have the honor of serving. 111 raises awareness for foster care and has done a tremendous job. One of the biggest things that we have done in recent years is opening up counties with Care Portal. So Care Portal is a tool, a vehicle, an online vehicle, if you will, where DHS workers can go in and they can post needs from families, bio families, foster families, kids, and then people from the community and the church community can sign up to be a part of that. They can see those needs, and then they can help fulfill the needs that are happening within our community. It's been tremendous to see how God's used this and used 111 to help open up all 77 counties in the state of Oklahoma. So lots of lives have been changed and impacted through that. And it's been a joy to be a part of the foster care initiative as a pastor, as a father, but then also being a part of nonprofit and that side of the world as well.
Demetrius, how about you? When did you start? Kind of, how did you get into foster care? What prompted you, your wife? Maybe was it her? Was it you? Was it kind of how did you get this process going? Where now you've had so many kids come through your home.
Yeah, so surprisingly, it was actually me that it came across. So the story my wife's telling, these are real words of hers, is when I told her I worked at a group home at the time. I was a director at a boys group home, and it was amazing to me to know that there were so many kids that did not have anywhere to go as far as a home or a place they would call home. And so one day I went home and I said, I think I would like for us to foster some kiddos. And she said, God called your phone, but he didn't call mine. So we always laugh about that because she was like, that's not something that I've ever thought about. And so, but after, a few months went by and she actually joined me in working with me at the group home, doing some volunteer work and things like that. And so then she finally saw the need for fostering. And so this was back in 2019, right before the pandemic, in 2020. But we just saw that big need that was there for kiddos that needed a home to go to. And so we just started fostering then, and we've been going ever since. We stopped for just a few months when our second child was born, but we jumped right back into it. And we've been doing it ever since. Right now, we're actually just emergency placements. And that's kind of how my numbers are going up, is because surprisingly, and not surprisingly, every night we would get a phone call and say, hey, we just need a kid to stay there tonight until we can find somewhere to go. So we'll get kids that stay a night. They may stay 2 nights or just a weekend. So that's how our numbers are going up as they are, because last year we decided that we had 2 kiddos went home that we had for a couple of years, and it was kind of hard on us to lose those kiddos. And so we just said this was our way to take a break, not really taking a break. So we're doing overnight placements right now. And I mean, God is just doing real good things with us. And so every placement that comes to us, they get a blanket, they get a pillow, and they get a stuffed animal, something to take with them. So that way they have some sense of belonging.
So good. So good. Walter, how about you? How did you and your wife get started in foster care? Your idea, her idea, what?
Absolutely. It was a complete opposite of Clint and DJ. I was not my idea, to be frank with you. My wife and I, we met in college at OSU, and we had just gotten married, and I had just sold my first business that I had started. And she said that, hey, once we buy our first house, like, we're going to start fostering. And I was like, okay. So then immediately we moved to Oklahoma City, and we bought our house. And then 2 weeks later, she had all the paperwork done and completed, and we were in a class, and I was, I guess, kind of going in front first, or feet first, I guess, really, or head first into it. And my wife has the background of that kind of thing. She grew up with 8 adopted siblings, and so her parents had fostered when she was, in high school and throughout her younger years of life. And so she kind of had the exposure to it. I never had anything exposed to foster care or adoption or anything like that. So really got to kind of got into it. We never had any kids of our own before we fostered. And then, like I said earlier, we were blessed with our first two placements. We were able to adopt those two children.
Mm. You know, Demetrius, you mentioned something that I want each one of you maybe to talk a little bit about. You made a statement that you had a couple of kiddos that they went back. You got it close to them. And you felt the pain of that. You felt the hurt of that. That's one of the things that I have seen that each foster family have to, it's a very real thing that most all of them are going to face at some point, most foster families. So talk to us about that, and you other guys maybe lean into that too, of what that's like to be able to wrap your arms around somebody, to love them, to provide them a safe, loving, beautiful home, and then to see them taken back and going to where you might not really know if they're going to get that. Go ahead, Demetrius.
Yeah, I think you never really prepare yourself for that. Just like people say, you never prepare to have kids. You don't prepare even for foster care. You may put it in your mind, like, I know this kid won't be with me forever, but it's still hard to see them, especially when you get them. Some of them you get I got this one at 2 months, and then at 2 years old, he's going, to be with his family. It's like, it's heart wrenching. So it's definitely hard. There's no training that you can get to say, hey, at 2 years this kid may be gone. Suck it up and keep on going. You just got to keep praying, asking God for strength, because it's definitely a hard situation to go through. But then you think about those kids that still need another home or need a place to go. All right, we finished our story here with these kiddos. They're going home. We like to try to stay in contact as much as we can, bridge with those families. When that mom does need help, or if she needs a weekend break, let that parent know, hey, you can still call us, and we can still, be in that kiddo's life or those kids' life. But just know that we still have room for other kiddos, and I think that's what kept us going. Is there's still kids out there that need a place to stay, and so let's not completely stop. Let's just keep praying for strength and for guidance, and God will bless, and God will continue to lead us and to guide us in wherever He wants us to go and what He wants us to do. And so we continue to open up and just be very transparent with ourselves, and just know that, although they may leave, we have, when we are weak, He is strong. So we continue to pray over our family, pray over ourselves and our homes. And even those kiddos, when they go home, continue to pray for them, because it is a hard transition for all of us, not just for us, but also for them to go back home to something they may not, know what's going to happen.
Pastor, I think a lot of people that go into this, they have the dream of being adoptive parents, and we're warned against that in our training, right, guys?
Yep.
Guard your heart and prepare yourselves for transitions and those kind of things. When Lindsay and I got our first placement, it was very difficult for us because he was 4 weeks old when he came to stay with us, and he had no last name. So it's kind of like one of those prototypical opportunities where you think, oh, this could be a possibility. So then you end up investing a portion of your life into this infant and bonding with the child. And then a few months later, they found family, and we were so happy for him, but the family wanted to have nothing to do with us or let us have any interaction with this child. So for us, it was heartbreaking, and we still count him as one of our kids, even though we have no idea what's going on in his world right now. We still pray for him, and Lindsay still considers that she's a mom to him. I remember the season that we went through of kind of giving our home a break, giving our kids a break, because we had older bio kids at the time. So when he left our home, everyone was heartbroken. And it took us a second. We took a few months off. And I remember having a family meeting and setting everyone down on the couch and I said, hey, if we can help someone like we helped so and so, would you do it? Would you be okay with us opening our house again? And I'll never forget my boys, Dallas and Jensen, speaking up and saying, Dad, they can have my room. We want to help more people, you know. That touched my heart. And one of Lindsay and I's dreams back then, even though this brings on a lot of hardship, these guys can attest to this. One of our dreams were we were middle class Edmond, Oklahoma people, and we wanted to do something that mattered. We wanted to give a portion of our lives back and make a difference in the life of an individual, not just corporately or through the church, but no, our home, make a sacrifice. Our children experience what it means to sacrifice. And when they said that, that was that proud dad moment and an easy, okay, let's open the home back up. And that's what happened. They shared rooms and made a way for other kids to come be a part and be in our home, be a part of the Smith family.
Walter, how about you?
I'd say on our end, like my wife and I, we initially, ever since when we first got our two placements of our boys, we always prayed, like, Lord, let your will be done with what their case goes towards, right? Whether it's adoption or reunification. I think it's really hard to actually mean those words in the moment, like when you're praying those. And I think God really, really molds your heart around, like, hey, do you actually mean what you're saying right now to me? Do you mean, like, hey, what my will is for this child, like it's going to happen, right? And I think that in our oldest son, we had gotten an adoption date for him, and we were ready to adopt him. And then DHS called us with family in Florida, and said, actually, hey, he's going to go to Florida about a month before we were going to adopt him. And that was soul crushing. Like it was just so brutal. And it really tested, like, hey, do we actually want God's will to be done here? Or are we so selfish that we think we're better than that, or know better than that? And so I think that was one of our really, like, rough times for us. And it ended up being that family wasn't even biological to him in Florida, and it was just a scenario that DHS got too ahead of themselves on. So it ended up not going down that way. But I think it was a test for us to really, are we actually meaning the words that we say? I think that's a big thing. And prayer life is kind of meaning those words that you're talking about.
Yeah, Walter, you could speak to this too, but we really had to change our mindset after that first placement. God taught us to see it as a ministry. And when we talk about fatherhood in general, really, there's a portion where we should be giving our lives for the sake of others, right? And that is truly ministry. So we had to quit looking at it as a selfish thing, like bringing a child into our home and really surrendering it to God, like you said, Walter, of just trusting God's plan, that he loves these kids more than we love them, and he has a plan for them. And if that's to move them on, he's going to guide and lead that. Our job is to minister to them and love them and care for them while they are with us. So that was a groundbreaking lesson in our lives. And oddly enough, when we learned that lesson is when we actually adopted a child, because God had taken us through that process and we had truly surrendered everything to him. So there's a lot of learning curve there.
I want you to, you mentioned the word selfish is, I look at Foster's children. I mean, that is a sacrifice. But let's talk about, obviously, it's a big sacrifice on the parents who were involved but let's talk about the bio children, because two of you had bio kids and you fostered, and Clint's already leaned into one of that a little bit, but talk about the positive impact. And even Walter, you can speak in regards to your wife and how that she grew up in that, but she didn't have a bitterness against her parents. She didn't have she was like ready to do the same for others. Talk about how this sacrifice, this unselfish act actually lends into wanting to give more to people, and how you've seen it impact your personal lives and your children.
I'll start. So my bios are young, 7 and 5, but we started when my 7-year-old was about 18 months. So all of his life we've been doing it. Um, but every now and again we'll ask, both of them, how do you feel? Do you feel like it's okay for us to keep going? Just because we do get kids, every now and again, every night, like I said, we'll get a call. We don't always say yes, but we'll get a call. And so they're like, we got new friends. And when this last long-term placement left, we asked them because this was the first time that they actually cried about a placement leaving. Do you still feel comfortable with us fostering and having kids come in and stay? Or how do you feel sharing your mom and dad? And my son said, well, I think he's a little preacher. He said, Dad, God told me that we have to at least get to 100 kids. So I don't want to stop. We have to keep going. And
That's
so
good.
that just does my heart good because he sees that this is a ministry. We're helping people, and this is what we're meant to do. And he's okay with sharing his toys. He's okay with sharing his parents. It's okay with him, and kids come in and they'll start off with Mr. DJ or Miss Morgan, and then eventually they get to mom and dad, and he's like, that's fine. This is your mom and your dad too. And I'm okay with that because this is what God wanted us to do. He wants us to keep going and to help more kids be in a safe environment.
Good. Walter, how about you?
Yeah, like you said, we didn't have kids when we first started, and my daughter, my biological daughter, now she's too young to really, I think, understand that they're even adopted. Although we're celebrating today our son's Gotcha Day, which is his adoption day 3 years ago. So we're celebrating that today. And but for my wife and her growing up with it, I think that, I mean, you can just see it. She's always ready to help someone. Like that's how she grew up, and how her parents kind of demanded her to help when she was growing up. They expected that from her because she was older. She was in, I believe like high school when they started, and so she would pick them up or take them places or babysit or whatever it had to do to pitch in. I think from Aubrey uh, it was never not to say an option, but she knew it was what they were called to do. And if you ask her parents, it's very very known that that's what they're doing, and they're going to help people. I think that that's translated into her adult life, and just showing like, hey, if there's an opportunity for us to help someone, we're going to do that, whether that's in our home or whatever that may look like. And that's continues on to now that they're adopted. We have their biological family over to our house quite often, and we help them as much as we can, and try to connect those bridges.
Clint,
Pastor,
do you have any more?
I was just thinking about my kids and just, life's hard. There's a lot of challenges in life without bringing other kids into your home and helping other people with their hardships. And I'm thankful that my kids have had the opportunity to go through difficult things and to put others above themselves. And now 2 of my kids are adult children that are married, and I believe that the Lord has shaped their lives through the experiences that they've had and the sacrifices that they've made, but then also the love that they've received from adding people to our family and having other children in our home, So I think it's been a win-win, even though we can't candy coat it. I think Demetrius and Walter would both say, oh yeah, Pastor, there's been a lot of hardship. There's a lot of complexities to the situation. People in your home that you never thought would be in your home, and knocking on the door late at night. Those kinds of situations can be uncomfortable and take us all out of our comfort zones. But I would say the sacrifice is worth it, not only for the child, but also for our family, because we've grown from it, and our kids have grown from it.
I want to ask, and we'll lead the way with Demetrius on this, and then you other two, I want you to speak to it also. what is maybe, since you've been fostering, what, or now adopting, you've adopted children, a couple of you, or all of you, what is like maybe one child, one moment, one circumstance, one situation that you will never forget, and why? So just kind of pick out that one thing that just jumps to the top of your mind and like, oh yeah, that child, that situation, that moment that you'll never forget, and why. Demetrius, lead the way.
With 83 kids, there's probably a lot of moments I could go through, but one in particular that was actually recent. I had a kiddo. We told the kiddo, they were able to take a shower, and she said, "Well, do you have hot water?" And we said, "Yes, we have hot water." And the first thing she said when I said that was, "Thank you, Jesus." And so I don't think we say thank you enough. We take those small things for granted sometimes, but this kid said thank you, Jesus, right after I said, yes, we have hot water. And I think we take that kind of stuff for granted. We don't appreciate it sometimes, and we get in our own way. But just that moment, that child knew right off the bat that this is something I needed, this is something I didn't have, this is something I wanted. And the first thing she said was, "Thank you, Jesus." And I think we need to um, mimic that. Sometimes we just keep going about our day, but we don't realize there's times that we should have been saying thank you, Jesus, and we didn't. But for this young kid, she was 9 years old, to thank Jesus just for something that we know we're going to have every day, or that we think we know we're going to have every day. To say thank you, Jesus, is a lot.
Yeah, thank you, Jesus. That is true. We should not take that for granted. And this is a little bit more on the lighter side of things, but my wife calls me yesterday. This is yesterday. And she says, "We have no hot water." And apparently the pilot light had went out on my my hot water tank, which every once in a while the wind's blowing, it catches just right, and it might happen. But she wanted that hot water on immediately. And that's not even just taking a shower. That's just like washing things and doing what
Yeah.
you got to do. So that is really quite amazing, how that we do take some things for granted that kids are living with every day. No hot water. Clint, how about you?
Yeah, Pastor, you've heard this story before, but I'll share it with everyone. My second oldest son, Jensen, he was a college athlete and ran the hurdles. And one of his hurdle events, he was trying to run and qualify for nationals in Division II, and he actually fell on the last hurdle, tripped up, and had to jog across the finish line. And, of course, the moms and grandmas and everyone that's involved, they feel really sorry for him during that moment. And I cared and, checked on him as well. But at the same time, I knew that he needed to continue to move forward. And I'll never forget this. My mom was in the van with us, and we were riding somewhere. And she said, "Son, how's Jensen doing?" And I said, "He'll be fine, Mom. He doesn't need us all feeling sorry for him just like that." And Russell, who is our adopted son now, he speaks up from the back and he says, "That's what we Smiths do, Gammy." And she said, "What?" He said, "That's what we Smiths do. We fall down and we get back up again and we try again." And there was just a moment in me as a dad that just, he's getting it. He's understanding, him being in that family environment and knowing, the life that he's living now, and what God's doing in his life through that. So that was a really special moment for me, seeing him connecting the dots there.
So good. Walter?
Yeah, I'd say from mine, one of the biggest moments that I think stands out to me, it didn't come from one of my children. It came from the biological mother of our children. I would always go to the court dates and go and sit in court and watch. And it came to a decision of like, hey, like, is the mom going to continue to press on and try to work this stuff out and reunify with her son, or is she gonna stop doing that? And she came to a realization that that I think is I didn't know the gravity of it before I had my own biological child, but she made the decision in court to that she thought it was a better decision for him to be adopted by us, for that child. And whether she was in between a hard spot and like really it was not a forced decision, but it was a forced decision. She might not have grasped that, but for her to really come to that, I would say it was probably the most heartbreaking and selfless decision I think I've ever witnessed in person. And it was really like, I'll never forget that. It was a really hard moment to watch and listen to.
Mm, mm. Wow. What an incredible act for a lady to be able to realize. I can't even imagine. I can't even put words to what she may have been feeling and what she was going through. I want y'all to think about this in regards to fostering children. What is something that fostering children has maybe taught you about life, about faith, about family? You can go any direction there, but just something that the grind, the effort, the sacrifice has taught you about life, maybe about family, maybe about faith. I will go ahead and lead the way with Pastor Clint.
Yeah. So as you're asking that question, I'm thinking about just even current lessons that we're learning, Pastor, is we keep moving forward. In some of the hard times, Lindsay and I will have conversations of what are we going to do? That's the age old question, right? When you're going through difficult circumstances, and the answer a lot of times is we're going to keep moving forward. We're going to keep doing what we're doing. We're going to make good decisions daily, continue to honor the Lord, and continue to serve in the capacity that He's called us to serve in. There's no takebacks. There's no going back. There's no I wish this, I wish that. It really is a lifelong commitment, because we're dealing with family. We're dealing with people, human beings, and a lot of people that have been impacted and hurt and gone through lots of hardship. One of the biggest things that I was exposed to was just this realization that not everyone has a fair shake. Not everyone has the opportunity that I've had. I've had some difficult life circumstances myself, but I have the advantage over a lot of other people. And I thank God for the opportunities that He's given me, but I also thank Him for bringing to my realization that there are people out there that life has been so hard on them that they are not equipped to raise children. And that should be something that prompts us to have grace and to care for people and to love them, and just realizing not everyone is coming from the same position that we are as individuals and or families in opportunity. So that's been a big wake up call for us, and the stuff that we continue to grow in and learn every day and over the past 15 years or so.
Walter, how about you?
Yeah, I think that as men and being a father, I think one of the most important things is just being steady and showing up, whether that's, you're showing up and just being there, or you're showing up and doing something. But I think really, being a support system for my children or for my wife, and just showing up, I think that's half the thing that kids need is someone just to show up and be there and be a steady person in their life. I think that that's a really easy but sometimes hard thing to do for some people.
Good.
Um,
Demetrius?
just to piggyback on both of them, I would also say the same thing. Consistency um, is very important to everybody. I mean, but these kids and also the bio parents, they lack the consistency and they need it and they long for it. But it's also taught me that everybody is carrying a story you can't see. And it's shown me that instead of being so judgmental or quickly judging, we need to offer a little more grace. Um, I mean, like Jesus did it for us, we need to have that same grace and offer it to those that need it.
Mm, very good. Uh, Walter, I know that one of the things that you have been a part of leading is a foster group at North Church. And tell us about, you know, what happens there, who is coming to this, if somebody is listening and that maybe they're interested in fostering, or that maybe this group could be a great group, or just give us some insight on this group.
Yeah, absolutely. So we it's called Fostering Hope, and it's with North Church. Everyone we have couples that are not going to North Church that come, and it's for anyone that's interested in fostering, that has foster parents or that are currently fostering, or interested in being foster parents, and then of course adoptive parents as well too. We meet once a month, sometimes at the church, sometimes at our homes, just depending on what we're doing. I think the next one we're doing it at our in-laws, so we're having a pool party, and we'll cook out and stuff like that. But really the biggest thing, and you've touched on this a lot, Pastor Rodney, in the last, I feel like year, it's been a big, like, constant thing in your preaching and what we've done at North Church is community and having some sort of support. I think it's really big for fathers to have support and for men to talk to men. I think that's a real big thing that we're missing in society right now. I think that it's really important for men to talk to other men, and it gives opportunity for obviously women to talk to other women too, because all families come obviously, but just community in that. And I think that with fostering, it's important to and DJ, you can say this as well too. I'm sure, and same with Clint is when you're talking to other foster families, they've probably been through something similar. So it's really important for people to talk about those similar situations, and help support each other, or maybe been through something so similar that they can give advice on that or empathize with it well.
Yeah, it's really easy to feel like you're on an island, isn't it? So having that community and people that can kind of help you feel a little more sane is a big benefit. That's where that community comes in.
I think it's also good that we have a group text that we have also. And so when we are going through those hard times, or I mean, like court situations, we do post in there, hey, we have court today. If you guys don't mind praying for us, because this community does know our story and they are going through similar things. Um, and if we all pull up in a 15 passenger van, we're not being looked at crazy.
That's great. Um, I want you men. We're talking about manhood over a few weeks here. The value of men in children's lives. Um, it is throughout world history. Um, Women have tend to be the ones step up and been there more so for children. Yes, men have, for the most part, have been more of the breadwinners throughout history. Yes, but oftentimes men have not even been in the home. And then sometimes when they're in the home, they're not really connecting. They're emotionally distant. And really, I want you three to speak to the value of the man for children and being a spiritual father and fathering these children the way they're meant to be fathered. So speak to that. I'm going to lead with Pastor Clint on that. And Clint, talk to us a little bit about the value of a man.
Yeah, Pastor, I think some adjustments that I've made in my life are tuning into your children. You know, I think an error in, I say young men, but really all men, is to be distracted by the things of this world and the things of life, hobbies, things of that nature. A lot of times in our own pain, we're trying to cope with what's going on around us, and we have a tendency to leave those that God has put in our charge behind. So we're so busy trying to cope with things that we forget about our families and what God has given us as responsibility. So the things that I have found to be most effective, Walter talked about that steadiness. DJ talked about consistency, is to consistently, steadily engage your children. And I even made it a part of my growth plan, Pastor, because if I could play with my children and spend time with them when they were younger, to get down on the ground with them and to have fun with them for 30 minutes a day, that's what winning looks like. And my kids will know that I care about them, I love them, and I want to spend time with them. I'm less concerned about whatever, Major League Baseball or this game or that game. In the grand scheme of things, none of that stuff really matters. But fatherhood is forever, and it matters a lot. And you'd be amazed at the influence you can have in someone's life, not even your own children or the people in your home, but people are starving for spiritual fatherhood and people to look them in the eyes and tell them they're proud of them, they care for them, to pat them on the back, to encourage them, to be into what they're into. You want to know the way into the life of a child? Be interested in what they're interested in. Don't just try to pull them into all your stuff, So those are some things that God's taught me along the way, and I'm still working on. But man, we go back to that selfishness of trying to care for ourselves, that we really miss out on the whole assignment that God gave us. And that is to steward well the people that he's put under our care. That is spiritual fatherhood. And we have to be engaged and be there active day by day in order to pull that off. You can't vacation your way into being a good dad. You can't expect to go a year long and then take your kids to Disney World and to make everything better. That's not what God's calling us to. He's calling us to daily involvement and being active in the people that he's put us responsible for.
Very good. Very good. Walter, how about you?
Yeah, 100%. I think becoming a fan of what your kids are a fan of is huge. I'm super into princesses, Paw Patrol, Spider-Man right now, so it's big time in our house. So whatever it is, I'm down with it. But when you said without a father in the home, our son Boston, he has a sister that comes over quite often, and she does not have a father in her home, and you can just immediately when she gets there, you can just see how quickly she gravitates towards wanting to spend time with me. It's just, and I'm so very intentional when she comes over to spend that time and really, really watch carefully how I interact with my wife or how I treat her, and make sure that she can see that as an example of how men are supposed to treat women, and how very, very important it is that men take care of women. And if you ask my boys what their job is, it's that we take care of our girls. And so it's very, very important. I think that's one of the biggest things is making sure that you lead by showing, hey, this is how we treat our mom or our sister, or however it may look. I think it's really, really important. And you can DJ probably can touch on this more, but you can tell if they don't have a father figure in their life because how quickly they gravitate towards wanting that.
Yeah, I would say we have to prove the world wrong in what they think of men or as fathers, because fathers can also be emotional support. We can be role models. We can be that academic and social development support, that sense of security. We give broader perspectives and healthy relationships. A big one for me is the role model part, because you just never know what your kids are watching or who your kids are watching and what they see. when we do get in different kiddos, like Walter said, you can tell that they haven't been around a father figure. They don't have a father figure. Just the way that they watch you and the things that you do. So I try my hardest just to be the greatest role model I could be. And my dad always told me, be better than me. And so I tell my kids the same thing, be better than me. And so that way, I want them to see me at church worshiping. I want them to see me praying. I want them to see me praying over the house or over my wife. I want them to see those type of things, and so that they know that dad was there and dad was consistent and dad did what he was supposed to do. Dad beat the odds, because that's what we want our kids to do, is to beat the odds and be consistent, but also to love Jesus and to worship God and to do those things. Like I said, we do a lot of overnights, and there's times where we do get kids. We come on Thursday nights. I've had 3 kids. Their first night is a Thursday night. We come to North Church. I've had 3 of those kids be baptized already just for their first night being in North Church. And so that's what we want to see, and that's what we're here to do, is to minister and be that role model for these kiddos.
Gentlemen, thank you so very much for this time. I do want to wrap up with each one of you giving a final thought on, maybe it's manhood, maybe it's being a father, but just kind of your final advice you want to leave with the audience to encourage, men to be men, and men to be men, not by worldly standards. I think that's what we're here about. It's the standard of Christ. He is the example. He is the role model. Ultimately, all of us, like Paul, follow me as I follow Christ. But Christ is the standard. He is that. And so just a final word from each one of you that you want to give the audience.
Pastor, I would say to the men out there, see people. Don't just be consumed with what's going on in your world. Recently, I'm developing a nickname of Church Pawpaw, because I've started celebrating kids as they're coming into church and getting down on my knees, giving them hugs and high fives and those kind of things. And I've had people say, "Hey, you're ready to be a grandfather, aren't you?" And that might be true, but I'm not doing it because I want to be a grandfather. I'm doing it because God's asking me to see people, to care about people. And it really is amazing to see the face of a child light up because you just give them attention and you care about them, and you care about what they care about. So I just want to encourage all the fathers, but also all the men, pay attention to people, tune in. God can use you in a big way. You might not be a biological father, but you can be a spiritual father, and you can have influence on the lives of others. And don't miss that, okay?
I would encourage men and fathers to, we talk a lot about community, but seek a good community, a good group of people, a good group of men, because a lot of us go through things and we kind of hide it. And we don't say anything because we are men and we're not supposed to cry and these type of things. But I think we need to get with some good people, good groups or good men groups, and just feed into other people, encourage other people, and also just pray with them and learn from them, share your experience, because we don't have to hold those things in, and know that everything is going to be all right. In the end, we're going to be all right, and just keep praying, keep going, don't stop, and keep praying to God.
I'll piggyback on DJ. I think if I had advice, I would say what's on your mind to other fathers and other men that are in your life. I think it's really important to speak life into other people, and I think I've made that a goal of mine this year to if I think of something, I'm going to say something and say it to someone, and make sure that they know that, hey, I saw that. Like, for example, we had a foster family in our group that, man, they had just like been going through it, and typically I wouldn't say anything to them. I just gave them that words of encouragement, and I know it resonated well with them because they need to hear it. And I think that's a big thing is some people need to hear things and don't shy away from saying things to people that need to hear it.
Mm.
It's good.
Gentlemen, thank you so very much. 1 John chapter 3, verse 1 says, see how great love the Father has lavished on us. That's Father God, that we should be called children of God. And we have a great opportunity and a privilege to be able to love others the way God has loved us. So thank you, men, for being the great dads that you are, and for loving not only biological children, but also others out there that have struggled in life, but yet you've provided them a home and an example that they can long for. Okay. Hey, everybody, I'm so glad that you joined us today for another episode of Up and to the Right. I hope that, again, you will subscribe, that you will also share this with somebody. It would be a great help for us, that you would you would comment, and get this out to somebody. It's going to be a benefit to them. Hey, until next time, we'll see you on Up and to the Right.